Good morning, Flosstube. Welcome back. This is Sunday, the 6th of October 2024. My name is Stuart. The channel name is Stuarts and Stitches, where we generally talk about cross-stitching, and I may introduce some other crafts I do now and again. But today it's mainly cross-stitching we're going to be talking about. It's another dank, dreich day in Scotland, but at that time of year, autumn has finally arrived. I had to put the heating on yesterday, which galled me slightly, but it was so cold. However, it's off today, so we'll see how we get on. To my returning viewers and subscribers, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back. To any new who have stumbled across the channel, welcome also. I hope you enjoy what you see, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to see what else I have to offer when I record again. This is... did I say this? Well, it bears repeating. This is Flosstube number 4. And the running order today, done the greeting, full of whips, there's a finished object, there's a new start, there's a wee fully finished object to show you, some bag news, a wee bit of haul, and maybe we'll have a talk about planned. I was looking to the side there where I have my running order, so we'll see how we get on. First of all, a couple of shout outs. A couple of people have been kind enough to mention me on their channel. So we have Elara, who is in America, a very prolific stitcher of so many pieces. The main highlight, I think, is probably the Dragons of the Sabbat by Anne Stokes from Pain Free Crafts. She chose to stitch all the black, and she had a challenge running last year with Darren Dizzy Stitcher, and her element of it was to complete all the black of the outline, and she did. It looks tremendous, and she's continuing with the black this year as well. I really don't know how she does it. And the other lady to mention is Vicky from Cat Mum Crafts and Everything. I'll link both these people below. They are well worth watching, and you should give them a watch and see if you'd like to add them to your regular viewing schedules. So, moving on to whips, what do we have? So there's an old favourite that's been going on just now, a stitch along, and there's a new start because I had a finish. So if you have a finish, you've got to have a new start. I mean, it just is. And there's a couple of other whips I want to share with you that I have scattered around me just now. So let's have a look and see what we've got. First off, this is Smug. I'm just tighten the frame up a bit so it looks a bit better. This is Smug's Erebor. This is a stitch along run by Tempting Tangles. It's over 12 parts. Each part it's quite small, so it's very manageable. I like these when they're in small chunks. And this came out last Friday, a week past Friday gone, and so I finished that by, I think it was about Sunday I got that stitched in. I'm using Dinky Dye silks for this, which are really nice to work with, and here's where we are so far. I'm bring it in a wee bit. So Smug up top in all his red glory. We've got the beach huts, which I think is the wee village. Carl always refers to those as the beach huts. And this week's part was finishing off the bottom of this tower, doing that, and some of the trees on the hillside here, and then the corresponding down here as well. So we've got some sea creatures, I think. We've got the snails, which do figure in Smug after I googled. I think I mentioned that last time, so I did wonder, why do we have snails? But I now know. The trees were interesting because Deborah, who's the designer at Tempting Tangles, is a full cross of a lighter colour underneath and then a half cross of this brown on top, so it just raises them up a little bit above the rest of the texture. So it's really nice. This has been stitched on a 32 count piece of fabric from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, which I think is called, the tags. The tag is in the fold of that fabric, but if I recall correctly, it is Tropical, it's called. So there we are, that's Smug. I really like this, it's good fun. So that's part 7 done now, so we have 5 more to go. So number 8 will be here, and then we drop down along the bottom here for the last 4 parts. It should finish just in time for Christmas. So that's good, I'm enjoying that, it's good fun. So let me just put that to the side. Prepare for the massive clear up after recording. So the next piece is a new start, which I'll just take off my Lowry. Right, so this is a stitch along I'm doing with Amanda from Alba Stitcher. She mentioned in our Instagram one day that she was picked up this piece of Etsy. I'd liked it, and she had messaged me saying, would you be interested in doing a stitch along with me? So we've both done that. The hashtag for it is hashtag Spooky Season Sal. If I can work out how, and I'm not making any promises in this, I'll put it along the bottom of the screen. Spooky Season Sal kind of speaks for itself, really. What it's going to look like when it's finished is that. It's by Doreen Jones. It's a really nice piece. It's quite fun. As usual, I have started at the bottom. I started this on the 1st of October, which was our agreed start date for it. Amanda's starting in the middle, so it's quite interesting just to see how we're getting on from the different perspectives of the piece. 2 or 3 other people I notice have also started this, which is good. It's always nice to see people stitching the same thing, see how they're getting on. This I am stitching on a 28-piece count of even weave that I got from Megan at Coffee Crafts Fabrics in one of her Sunday sales. She doesn't name her fabrics, so it's anonymous, but let's see where we've got to. Right, here we go. Come back a wee bit. So, it's fairly symmetrical at the bottom, well, sort of. We've got the headstones on either side, we've got pumpkins, and made to start on the house. That doesn't look a lot, but there's over 1,000 stitches going on in there. That's a lot of black. I thought, again, I'll eat my vegetables. I'll get the bulk of the black done before I get into the fun part. That's why I did it. And I know it fits on my fabric fine. I'm trying to be fairly frugal. So I'm using this fabric. It's going up on the short side because it'll fit that way with a margin of 2 inches at either side. And then when it's finished, I should have just under half of the fabric left for another piece. I'll just bring it in. The pumpkins are quite fun, aren't they? I love the smiles on them. And then we've got the tombstones. That there's a ghost about to appear. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that with the what's the word I'm looking for? The glow-in-the-dark threads that I have left over from the Monster House Sal, because I quite enjoy using them. I don't want to do overkill, so I'll have a think about that before I get to the ghosts. There's some wee ghosts down there and wee sort of stars, so they might look quite nice and glow in the dark, but we'll see. Or I might mix it with the B5200, which is what Doreen has called for in her charting. But there we are. We'll continue on this for a few more days this month and see how far we get. It is good fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm glad Amanda pointed this one out to me. So thanks, Amanda, if you're watching at some point. Let me just get that back onto the Lowry. At least then something's back where it belongs. Right, what else do I want to show you? So that's the 2 bits that are on the go just now that I've been working on since last you saw me. I'll show you the finished pieces in a minute or two. I thought I'd show you another couple of my other whips that are in this room but are not on the go. First one is Heaven and Earth full coverage. Let me just switch on my tablet here. I've got this prepped up. Yep, here we go. This is called the Wild Hunt. It's a super size one, not max colour, just super size. And the design is Sandra Santara. It's 787 by 982. And when it's finished, it's going to look like that. Well, minus the Mickey Mouse ears. Oh, I don't know how to do that out. Oh, there we go. There we are. Tilted that. There we are. You can see him now in all his glory. Hern, the hunter god. This is all my stitchy friends all have a flutter whenever I bring this out. They do like him for some reason. Can't think why, but who knows. Anyway, I'm not at any of the interesting parts yet. I'm just in my usual in the bottom left-hand corner, slowly creeping along to the fun parts. So that's what it's going to look like. I've got this one in a scroll frame. At one point I was going mad and using large scroll frames for my full coverage pieces. Wait till you see the size of this beast. So there's where we are on it. This, looking at this, is a 28 count. And this is being stitched. What is this one? Sorry, I'm just going to see how I'm stitching this. Aye, 1/1 full cross on this one. And if I step back a bit and sort of wind over, it just keeps going. It's going to be massive. In my scroll frame. This is where did this one come from? This is Needle Needs. This is one of the big ones from Needle Needs a few years ago. I was very lucky. So there's that. That could be known as one of my naughty stitches, which leads me on to another naughty stitch. My Scottish friends who attend the same retreats as me will know exactly what we're talking about here. This could technically be called a whip of shame because I've had this in the go for well over a year now or more. That term I think was coined by Jen, the caffeinated crafter. You should go and watch her. She's a hoot. This is based on a design by Tom of Finland. There was a series he did called Shipwrecked, where a shipwrecked sailor lands on a desert island, and the man who's already on the desert island, having lived there, takes care of him, and you can read into that sentence what you wish. But here's where we are so far. This is part 2. I'm not going to show you the finished objects. I think that would get me drowned out the brownies if I did that, or drummed out the brownies even. They're fairly monochromatic. It's all whites. Well, the white is 3865, so it's that winter white. Blacks and greys. It's very effective. It comes over really well. I think if I do pick up this as a whip of shame and try and do 100 stitches a day, it'll grow quite quickly. But I think I might have to be very careful what I show on screen at that point, because it gets interesting, shall we say. So there's that whip. Now, the chart part away before I lose it. So I think that was all the whips I had to share with you today. So let's have a look at some finished objects, shall we? So we have finally finished the Monster House stitch along from Satsuma Street. This was such great fun. So many people were doing it, and everybody seems to have had a ball of a time working on it. I chose to do mine in a lovely purple piece of fabric from Sparkly's, a 28 count linen. And I finished this on about the Wednesday, I think, after the final part came out. I think it took me through to Wednesday morning to get finished. Had to do some French knots. I put a wee bit of beading in for cat's eyes, and the end result is amazing. I love it. Let me see this. So here we go. Is it fitting in? Yeah, just about there. So the last part was this over here. So there's cat's eyes in there. I just felt on my finger. So this tower and flag, and then we get the crescent moon, which is a pale yellow interspersed with the glow in the dark threads. It's a nice effect in the night when it's charged up. Let me bring this in a wee bit closer so we can see. The detail on this piece was brilliant. Look at the monster in the attic. The cats. I love the cats on this. So I used, I had some glow in the dark beads left over from Cinderella. So I thought I'll just use them for the cat's eyes instead of doing French. No, I think it was just, how did Jodie do this? She did a slanted back stitch for them. I thought I'd quite fancy some beads for the eyes. But the detail and the characters in this, it's great fun. I loved this. I hope she does another one soon. I was commenting on somebody's post on Facebook last night. They've also finished it. And they were saying that normally they take a long time to finish a project this size, but because it's been released every 2 weeks, it wasn't enough to make you sick of it. You were able to for me, I was able to get through each piece in about 3 or 4 days. So nice manageable chunks, which then enabled me to finish it. I had no idea what I'm going to do with it yet. Whether I'm going to frame it or make it into a hanging or some such. I've seen somebody has made it into a hanging. They've almost kind of quilted. They put a nice fabric border around it. And I think they're going to hang it up for Halloween. So it's an idea. Get my sewing machine busy. So that's it. So that was my big finish. I'm quite sad in the way it's finished. I'm pleased to see it finished. It's lovely. It's lovely to see the finished design. But I'll miss the parts coming out. I looked forward to them coming out. I brought through one of my other finishes to share with you. This is from Drin, Bella Filipina. This is my first Bella Filipina piece, and it is called Bellatrix. This was stitched in a lovely piece of opalescent 28 count fabric from Sparkly's called Supernova, and I think she came out quite well on it. So here we are. There's a lot of her. She's a big lady. Cheeky wee leg showing, that always makes me laugh. And the cat sitting in the window, like my friend Violet next door, just sitting there watching, ready to pounce. So let me bring in her a wee bit, you can see some of the details. So, as always, beads, metallics. That window, that arch, I just have to bite the bullet in that and just sit down one day and say, okay, that's what's getting done, and get on with it. I loved the purples in her dress. The book stand, I really enjoyed doing that. It came out really well in the lectern. She's a big lady. No idea what I'm going to do with her yet. I finished her last year, so she's just been sitting rolled up on top of a unit with my other finished pieces. But she's lovely. I'm very pleased with how she turned out. So that's that one. And I brought up another finish now that we're into October. So something fell. No, it's just some threads. Now that we're into October, it was time for the next monthly Quaker. I finished all these Quakers last year. There was Amanda again had a stitch along going for monthly Quakers by From the Heart, Wendy's Needle Art. So I did all 12 Quakers, and month by month I'm turning them into pillows to display for the month. So here is October's. There we go. I liked October, I love the colours. I love this time of year in general though, so there we are. It didn't look nice. This was done with the called for fancy threads, the overdyed threads. It was stitched 1/1 on a 28 count Ada, which I think is probably vintage country mocha. And the back, I just had some fabric in my sewing stash that I hauled out. I thought, oh, well, that looks quite nice. That'll sit nicely in the back of this. Stuffed it to within an inch of its life and sewed up the back. And there we go. So that's now sitting downstairs in the hall. When people come in, they can see it sitting on the table as they come in. So there was that. Oh, something else I brought through to share with you as well. My threads for the Wild Hunt. People have been interested in how I organise my threads. So this was how I did it for the Wild Hunt. This is just super size. There's only about 80 odd colours, maybe 90. So these are on knitting needle stitch holders for knitting, and I've used keyring fobs. I've taken off the metal bit, but they just slide through nicely in the hole at the bottom there. Aye, there we go. Just holds the threads. And as I like my threads hanging like this to work with. I used to bobinate all the time, so I didn't know any different. But then I discovered I could do this, and this I like. I can get to the length I want, and it's good. And I can do my favourite. I can just sit and do that. I can do that all day. Just comb through them. Very therapeutic. See, you do it with silks. Well, that's a whole new world. Right. My tablet keeps buzzing for some reason. Let me see if I can switch it off. It's not very happy. I don't know. I'm hoping it's not the buzzing isn't being picked up too much. There we go. Maybe he's plugged in. I think that's what's wrong with it. I'm going to find its cable and I'll cheer it up a bit. Give it some juice. There's the port. Oh, there we are. Right. That should maybe keep it quiet. So that was finished objects, fully finished objects. So we're on to bags next. So there's two wee subsections in bags. Bags that are in the cupboard with interesting things in them, which are a surprise to both you and me. Not to me today, because I've already had a wee look before I brought them through, but they were before I looked in them. And some bags I've been making because the Scottish Stitching Retreat's coming up very soon now, scarily soon, in mid-November. So I'm making bags to take along to sell there. The ladies are very, very kind and supportive to me. They're always happy to buy bags. So I'll do my best to supply what they need. So I'll show you those first. These are some of the ones I've made over the past couple of weeks since last you saw me. This nice kind of blue one with some lace on it. It's just a fully lined, fully fabric bag. Nice, I like that one. Nice wee blue flower print. So there was that. This is another full fabric bag. This is a nice kind of evening forest with northern lights going on. Which, nice. I like that. I like the colouring on it. I like the greens and the blues. That was really nice. Then we have this one I rustled up last night. This is some dragons. Here be dragons. I do like dragons. So there's that one, and in the back it's a different fabric, just with more dragons, which I think is good. It's quite fun, that. I don't know what it is about dragons, but I've always liked dragons. I've always enjoyed pictures of them. I'm not stitching any, I don't think. No, I've got one in the go from Paint Free Crafts, one of Stanley Morris's dragons, which I'll show you one day. As a kid, I remember reading all the Perm books by Anne McCaffrey. I don't know if any of you are familiar with those, but they were great. I loved her whole ecosystem of dragons, how they interacted with the humans and what was going on. Great fun. And then I made a vinyl bag with the dragon fabric. So that's the back. And the front, and with my lovely glittery vinyl that I like. And it's picking up all the shine that you could wish for. So that's what was run through the sewing machine the past couple of weeks. And then we have the bags from the Cupboard of Mystery. So what do we have today? Well. So this is another one of my bags. This is some odds and ends of fabric from other bags. I thought, well, I'm not going to throw them out. I'm a Scotsman, I don't really do waste. So I sewed them all together, and I found a tutorial on YouTube, I can't remember who it was now, of how to take one bit of fabric and basically fold it, one long piece of fabric lined, and fold it over to make a bag. And this was the result. So I was really pleased how that turned out. I'll need to find that tutorial again, because I've got a whole pile of fabrics waiting to, I've got a bag of them, of offcuts waiting to be put together into something. So what do we have? Oh yes, this is good. I bought this, I couldn't believe this one, it was so good. This is my Heartstring Samplery. This came out at Market, I think, a couple of years ago maybe. And this is what it's going to look like. Scary Sampler. And it's all the symbols that are in it that are so good. We've got the Weeping Angel, there's a Whomping Willow. What does the wording say? I will die here where I have walked, and I will walk here though I am in my grave. So I think she tells me somewhere what's all in it. I just have to find where that somewhere is. Oh, wait a minute, here we are. So the references, we've got Bleak House by Charles Dickens, that's where that quote came from. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I can hold that up while I'm reading from the back. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a number 42. The house is Thornfield Hall from Jane Eyre. I'm amazed, I love that story. The figure in the window is Cathy's ghost from Wuthering Heights. We have human and dog skeletons are from The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. The cemetery tombstones reference back to Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. We've got the willow tree from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The snake sandworm that's in there somewhere is from Beetlejuice. We've also got Jurassic Park, the flock of pterosaurs. The alien head seed pods that are in the border. They're referencing back to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The Death Star, which is the moon, Star Wars. We've got Men in Black for the roach on the tree. Then the Stranger Things is reference. Lost is a series of numbers. The X-Files is a shovel in hand from series 4 episode 2, Home. Fringe is a reference. Seahorse and the Headstone. Doctor Who for the Weeping Angel. And the original Star Trek for the Black Cat from series 2 episode 7 known as Cat's Paw. I love this. I couldn't believe when I saw it. I thought, oh, I've got to get that. Then I got it, started it, and then it went to project bag and was never seen for a period of time. Till today, effectively. However, we do have a start at the back of the front. Where did I start this? Oh yes, I was looking at thinking, what have I done? So this isn't a 40 count piece. Oh, I'm not sure where this came from. I don't have the label unless I've got it hidden in the bag somewhere. Nope. So it's a 40 piece count of linen. And I'll start as usual in the bottom left corner, and there's what we have so far. I'm doing it one strand over two. I was going to say 1 over 1, but 40 count? No, not a chance. So that's where we are. And I'm using the called for thread pack, well, called for threads, which is this nice little bundle here. I should really have this out for this month. We're on Halloween. However, we shall see. So there was that. I'll just put that away. Lose any of it. It's always a risk of when I bring something out of the bags, and if I don't get it all away at the right time I'm recording, there's a risk things can go AWOL, and that would not be a good thing. And then we have, this is a bag, William Morris Fabrics, the Strawberry Thief. I love this design. I could have scented it better probably, but hey ho, it's for me, so. Aye, what have we got in here? He says, oh yes, this one is Twisted Band Sampler and Dinky Dye Silks. Aren't they lovely? So this is a colour palette for it. This is the one that ombres from the top down to the bottom. It works through all the shades and I think back through them again. This is quite a popular piece. And again, I'm stitching this in a 40 count piece. And by the look of it, this is Vintage Country Mocha, I would suggest. 1 strand of silk over 2, and a wee bit in this one. This one I started, strangely enough, up top, which kind of made sense to me for this. So let's see if we can hold this in a way that you can see what I've been up to. There we go. So I've done the first 3 bands. I'm doing the one with the specialty stitches because why make life easy? And I like specialty stitches. I like the challenge of learning them. So the next band I do will be specialty stitches. I can't remember what they are yet, but and the variegation comes through really well in these silks. I really like it. So there's that. So I've done the butterflies, the fancy band, and the initial crest up the top. I think I remember my first retreat I went to, Teresa, Little Stitcher, was stitching this piece. Now, oh, there are other things in this bag. Well, isn't this exciting? Thread pack for the Twisted Rainbow Sampler. There's a colour palette for you. And there's that in there. And there's something else. What's this? Oh, that's just a colour key for the band sampler. So, there's no point showing that, that's just boring. And oh, fabric and silks. This is just a huge bedspread of 40 count Vintage Country Mocha and some Overa Soir reds. I have in mind to do some 1 or 2 of the red samplers, the Bristol samplers, and there's a lovely Italian one from Hands Across the Sea. It's a long, narrow one. Maria something or other. I can't remember the name of that now, but I think that's what these would have been bought for. So that's good to know where they are. I'll forget, but at least today I know where they are. So I can go back. So that's 2 of the bags from the cupboard. In the cupboard as well, there are some projects that are not in project bags, so I can see at a glance what they are if I put my mind to it. But I thought I'll share some of them with you as well. So the first one I've got if you remember earlier in the video, I talked about Dragons of the Sabbat. I also bought it. I also was mad enough to think, I'll do all the black on that. And I started. Then I thought, eventually, sense dawned. No, I'm never going to get anywhere interesting in this if I'm just doing all the black. So the other alternative that Sarah had offered was to do it on black linen, or black fabric, excuse me, and just stitch the design itself and ignore the border, just let the black of the fabric be the outlines. So that's what I have decided to do. So I got in touch with Sarah. I got a nice big piece of 27 count black fabric. There's that. And for those who are not familiar with the piece, that crumpled version there is what it's going to look like. So see all this black on the outside here? That's what Alara stitched last year. I'm not doing that now. That's what black fabric's for. I'm going to be stitching from the circle inwards. So stitching all the nine dragons there and the wheel. So I do have all the black. I have enough DMC 310 now to certainly see me through this side of eternity and well into the other side, I would say. So there's that. That was the bags. And what's in the bags. That subsection will continue. There's still a few bags to go through in that cupboard. And then there's the shelves in the sewing room, which, there's more projects in there. I have more whips than... No, I'm just too scared to count them. Some things I'm better not knowing. I just enjoy having the choice. Haul was next, so a couple of things to share with you. One of my monthly fabrics turned up today. Vicky at West Green Loft Yarns. West Green Loft Yarns. She put out an email last month saying she has some spaces for the last quarter of the year and they wanted to sign up. And I thought, well, I've had her fabric before and it is really nice. So I thought, why not? So for this, I'm taking a 32 count linen fat quarter. And I got my first one for October this past week. This is chalk, the colourway for this. It's a nice off-white. I'm not sure what I'll do in that yet. Nice piece of Zweigart. You can see the orange line running down. But I'll think of something to put on it. I can never have too much fabric. So that will go with my fabric stash. I'll get the label back around it. I know where it came from. So there was that. And then I got a chart off eBay. I love Teresa Wentzler's work. My third ever project, which was my second big project, was Fancy Sampler, which I'll share with you one day. It's framed and hanging up in my sewing room. It was a challenge. I mean, it's the first piece I've ever done like that. If you know Teresa Wentzler, there was all the blends to manage, the organisation of that, the intricate borders. But it was a huge learning curve and I loved every stitch of it. I was so pleased with the finished result of that. That's one of the ones that's framed. But I do love all her designs. I've got English Garden Sampler on the go, the one that Brian at Blitz Stitch finished. So that's it's on a frame just now, so it could well come out into the rotation at some point soon, because I haven't picked it up for over a year now, which is shameful. And then Andrew, the running stitcher, had said he had managed to hold a copy of Angel of Frost. So I thought, I must go looking for that, because I quite like the design. And I found it on eBay at a very reasonable price. And here it is. Isn't she lovely? Again, one of my favourite seasons is winter. So this ticks all the boxes for that. We've got the red ermine. The nice wintry scene there, lovely border. Now looking at the back of this, there's some of the fancy stitches. We've got lazy daisies, diamond eyelets, a wrapping back stitch and satin stitch. All grist to the mill. So there was that. So that's the only haul that I've had the past 2 weeks. I've been very good, very restrained. Well, I'm not really needing anything at the moment. Not that ever stops me. I've got threads sitting here. Where are they? Oh yes, they're Twisted Bad Stuff. I know what bag they go back into. Alright, so there was that. That was the whole plans. Well, plans. I'll continue working on the Doreen Jones piece, 'Tis the Season. Wee reminder, that one. Smug Part 8 will come out on Friday. That's only 2 pieces. There's going to have to be more than that. I'll probably get a full coverage out. I have a full coverage itch that's needing scratched. So I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. I made a start on Honeymoon Sunset, so that might come out and get a wee bit more attention. Or there are my various whips full coverages that could really do to it, get some work done in them. Or there's, given one Halloween, I've not yet started the Heaven and Earth one I bought last year, Haunted by Donna Gelsinger, which is a lovely piece. I can't show you because my tablet's not talking to me. But it's a nice Halloween type scene, a kind of spooky house and ghosts and tombstones and all the normal stuff that you would expect. So that might happen. For next year, I'm toying with the idea of putting all my full coverages onto a wheel. I'm sort of pinching this idea from Jen at Caffeinated Crafter and Kelly at Kel's Stitches. Putting them onto a wheel, maybe selecting 10 and then putting them on those 10 onto a wheel, and every time I record I'll spin the wheel, maybe pick 3 pieces out of it, and then the idea being to work on each of those 10 projects until I've done maybe 5,000 stitches on each of them over the course of the year. And if I get one of them done, I'll just spin the wheel to pick another one to put into the pile. Let me know what you think of that idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet, but it's in my mind. It would give me some progress and some impetus on my full coverage pieces, which is much needed. I keep looking at them and they keep looking back at me saying, love me, love me. But there's so much to stitch, as we all know. I think that's everything today. It was slightly shorter this week. The screen tells me we're at 37 minutes, so that's fine. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle on Instagram is stuartsinstitches. That's mentioned in the box below. I generally post there most days of my daily progress and whatever I'm working on. And if you want to email me for anything, the email address is in the box at the bottom, stuartsinstitches@gmail.com. Small plug for me. 1 or 2 of you have been asking if I sell my bags. Well, yes, I do, generally at the Scottish Stitching Retreat. But if anybody's interested in a bag at all, please just reach out to me on my email address and we can have a chat about it and see if there's anything I can do for you, if there's any of my fabrics that you're interested in. Other than that, I will be back in roughly about 2 weeks' time. I'm slightly late this time. I normally do it on a Wednesday, I've discovered, but this is Sunday, obviously. So it'll either be 2 weeks a day or the Wednesday prior to that, I imagine. I'm not quite sure what happened this week. I don't know what we were doing that I didn't do it on the Wednesday. The weeks just fly past. It's scary. And now that we're into October, nearly Halloween, and then, well, we all know it's around the corner after Halloween. Right, I think I've rambled enough. Oh no, I haven't. Q&A questions. I was having to scroll through the questions on my laptop. I think I've answered most of the ones that I'm able to answer that were sufficiently specific that I could answer them directly on there. Again, feel free to ask me any questions. If I know the answer, I'll type it up for you. If I don't know the answer, I'll put my hands up and say so, or I'll go away and have a wee Google and see if I can find the answer. But I love the interaction, the comments. It's so nice to read them and see how people are enjoying seeing my stitching. It's much appreciated by me. So thank you for that. And I think that's everything now. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and until we speak again, bye.